I'd like to call to order the Common Council meeting for July 23rd, 2024 at 6:20 p.m. Attendance roll call.
Alderpersons Wolf.
Here.
Hamel.
Here.
Decker.
Here.
Schwer.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Kabaki.
Here.
Madden.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law on Friday, July 19th, 2024.
Thank you. Public comment. Anyone in the audience like to speak on any item that is on the agenda for the Common Council meeting tonight? Please come forward, state your name and address. Hello. Wait, is it, or just pull it close.
Better?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Megan Grolkowski. I reside at W163S6983 in Oak Ridge Lane. My husband and I are in full support of the proposed rezoning of the two lots in that subdivision from multifamily to single-family use.
1 second. Is this the public hearing part? So we'll talk about that in a minute. This is just public comment on everything but the public hearing. So
Okay.
sorry. If you want, you can leave your purse there because you'll be the first one up. But you can take it with you if you want. It's up to you. Anyone like to speak on any other item on the council except for the public hearing, which will have a separate talk part? No, I should have explained that, so you're fine. Going once, twice? All right, thank you. Communications from the mayor's office. As you know, we're in the heart of budget season right now. So that's pretty much taking up a lot of our time right now. I talked about the grant that we have written for the firefighters. We also wrote for a grant for doing a remodel of the police department, the old police department. We'll see where we go on that. If we get any of that, we'll bring it forward and see if you guys want to accept it and what we can do with it. So those are my big updates for now. Public hearing. To consider the petition of Daryl Borchard of the Oak Ridge Glen subdivision concerning the area described as tax key numbers 2172.068 and 2172.069, lots 38 and 39 of the Oak Ridge Glen subdivision. Vacant lots will be granted a rezoning from RM2 multifamily residence district to RS2 suburban residence district for the purpose of converting two multifamily lots to single-family lots.
For the public hearing, we sign in.
Sure, and if anyone's going to speak on the public hearing, there's a sign-in sheet over there. If you could just sign your name and address.
Right down here?
Yeah, it's right around the corner there. So if you are going to speak, if you could either sign in before or right after you speak, just so we have a record. Okay, that would be helpful. Adam.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you start, I just want to, usually we have a map attached to this.
The maps usually don't come till the plan commission time,
Okay.
so there definitely will be one there, and then that will come on the
I'm
next
ahead of
council
myself.
also.
Okay,
And when
sorry.
we do the actual rezoning, you'll have it.
Yeah.
So this request, as the mayor mentioned, is to rezone two lots that are currently zoned for multifamily to single-family lots. When the Oak Ridge Glen subdivision was originally developed, it was predominantly a single-family subdivision. There was a lot at the front that was for Atonement Lutheran Church. So the area that we're talking about is kind of just north of Atonement Lutheran Church. And this area in question was always kind of meant to be a buffer between the predominant single-family part of the development and ultimately the Bossy Farm, which is just east of this property. Now, the Bossy Farm is a farm right now, but its zoning and future land use does show it definitely as commercial. So with that being said, good planning is typically to have kind of some buffering so you don't necessarily have single family right next to commercial, kind of combative uses at times. So the thought is to sometimes transition with some multifamily zoning. So what's being proposed here is there currently are 14 multifamily lots as kind of this little buffer transition zone, and two of those, which are actually the two that are probably the furthest from the commercial, are the two that are in question as far as being rezoned here. The Daryl Borchard, the applicant, is a relative of the original developer, so the original developer's family is involved in this, and they are the ones making the request. So it's not just like a resident wanting to buy the lot; it's actually the original developer's family is the one that's making this request. So it's something the developer's in favor of as far as kind of the whole flavor and flair of their neighborhood and what they want to see or don't see there. So the developer's obviously okay with this request. As far as losing these two multifamily, you have them, you don't have them, that doesn't really make a difference. I think the positive here is that these two lots that they want to make single family are not directly touching that commercial property to the east in question. And obviously, because we're talking about this commercial there, I think that's the biggest thing is for any potential buyer to be aware that there could be commercial next to you. And if someone's willing to have single family residences near that, that's totally fine as long as they're aware that that's what the potential future could possibly be to the east. If or when the Bossy family ever does decide to do something. As far as this request goes, the land use plan that we have in the city, the future land use plan, also does call these 14 multifamily lots out as high density residential, just based on the sheer volume of units that could be there. And as part of this request, the two lots in question would go down to medium density, which is consistent with the single family lots that are in that subdivision currently.
Any questions before the public hearing for?
So is it a big deal to change these out to the rest of them from multifamily? I mean, I'd rather see single family myself, but what's the big deal of keeping them multifamily?
The developer's only requesting the two for now, so we're reacting to what the developer's requesting. If they wanted to request that someday, they could, and the council could decide if they were good with that. Once again, there has never been planned to be a big buffer. Like some subdivisions have a big buffer, like a berm with trees separating them from commercial. That doesn't exist here. So
But it's going up against single family homes already on one side, right?
Mm-hmm, correct, yeah. And having multifamily next to single family exists all over the city. That's not uncommon.
It's just a transition,
Yeah.
that's all.
Good planning is you go from commercial, higher commercial industrial to commercial to hopefully
But
lighter
this is off the
commercial
main
to
strip though,
multifamily.
right? This is kind of, it's not like off of Janesville Road or anything,
Correct.
so.
All right.
How dense are what is the density of the ones that are the multifamily?
So the multifamily lots are all vacant right now. The developer has never chosen to sell any of them yet. The bulk of the multifamily lots are two-family lots, so they'd be like duplex, whether it's ownership or rental. We don't control that as a city, but they'd be two-unit buildings. Two of the 14 lots could be 3 or 4 family units. It's basically for every 10,000 square feet of land, they're allowed a unit. So a 20,000 square foot lot's 2 units, a 30,000's 3, a 40,000's 4. The bulk of them though are 2 family unit lots, but as of now, none of the multifamily ever been built yet. The
And this
developer's
is-
still
this is
holding those lots.
All the same owner of all the lots, you said?
Mm-hmm, correct.
Even the ones they want to switch to single family now?
Correct. Yeah, all 14 of the single family are owned by that original developer and their family.
So no apartment buildings in the multi?
No, the 2 to 4 unit max, and it all dependent on lot size, bigger lots, more units, but the max of 2 of the lots, I think one of the ones in question might have been a 3 or 4 unit, just because it's a little bit bigger on the end of a curve. But one of the lots for sure would have just been a duplex or 2 unit.
But they could come to us just like they're doing now?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anyone who would like to speak? Megan, since you.
Do you want me to restate my name and address again?
Yes, if
Okay,
you
it's
could.
Megan Grolkowski. Address is W1.
Could just bring the mic closer to your mouth, thanks.
Megan Grolkowski. Address is W163S6983 Oak Ridge Lane. As I had indicated, my husband and I support the rezoning of the multifamily lots to single family. We built in the subdivision about 2.5 years ago. We really like that it's like a lower density subdivision. It's very quiet. There's basically zero traffic. And we think that the rezoning would help preserve that. Also, as you're aware, there's relatively still low inventory in the city right now in the real estate market. So I think providing 2 additional single-family lots would be beneficial for families that can't find an existing single-family home that fits their needs. And then our next door neighbors, Brian and Jenny Zarniak, they own the house on lot 3. They cannot attend tonight, but they did want me to let you all know that they're in support of the rezone as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else that want to be heard on this matter? Going once, twice. I declare this public hearing closed. Moving on to consent agenda, common council meeting minutes from June 25th, 2024, and vouchers.
Move to approve and gross.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes unanimously. New business, Resolution 045, 2024, establish traffic regulations, no parking signs on Ranch Drive and Earl Drive.
Looking for comments?
I need someone to make a motion.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Was that a motion to approve? I assume?
Motion approved.
All right. Second, I assume was the same. All right, discussion. Any comments?
Who's Alderman in that section?
Sorry, what?
Did you want?
Decker.
You are, or who's it?
Alderman
Yeah.
Decker.
Oh, yeah, so you want to tell us about it? I mean, I don't.
Yeah, this started as a request to try to eliminate the water bugs traffic, which is bringing havoc to that neighborhood. So after a hearing a week ago on Monday, the recommendation from the Public Works and Safety Committee was no parking signs on both sides of the street instead of the current limitation, which is no parking holidays and weekends from May 1st to October 1st.
On both sides?
It's on both sides now. And what happens during the water bugs event on Wednesday, people park on both sides. It's creating a hazard because it's a very narrow road as it is, both roads. And it's a safety hazard. So the determination was we need to eliminate parking on one side. And ultimately, the committee decided we'll put a parking ban for both sides of the street.
Both sides of the street year-round.
Yes.
So I thought I saw, you put an amendment in there or something? I saw,
The
One side?
original staff recommendation was to do no parking on one side of the street and allow parking.
Oh, that's what I saw in
And
there.
allow parking on the
Okay.
other side of the street. Through the committee discussions, they ended up on a 2-to-1 vote of making a no parking both sides.
both sides. And I read in there, I don't know who put that in there, that some of the people didn't care about people parking on one
The-
side of the road?
My original recommendation was to ban parking on the one side of Earl Drive, the south side, and on the east side of Ranch, and keep the existing parking restriction on the opposite side of the street. But then I got pushback on that where they wanted to lift the parking restriction on the other side of the street totally, which would have opened up the whole neighborhood to the boating traffic on the weekend, which none of the people wanted.
Yeah, and that kind of makes sense what you just said, but there's also, is there Earl I saw in there that,
Yeah.
does that have no parking on? I didn't, for one time, I didn't go over and look at this area, I just looked on the maps.
Both
Has no parking on both sides on Earl?
Both Ranch and Earl have
Same
the
thing, okay.
present parking restriction of holidays and weekends, May 1st to October 1st.
The other question, I know Kevin was on here, and if I read that right, he voted no. The other streets in the area, are they signed similar to that street, or are they no parking on both sides?
Well, the near, Hartkey Drive is no parking, both sides, total.
And that's a cut through pretty much,
Right,
That's the entrance.
And then-
for
It's a
that.
park.
right. And then on Muskego Drive, it's basically, for the most part, no parking on both sides of the street. However, there's a stretch of Muskego Drive where there's no parking on one side, and then the holiday and restriction parking on the other side from May 1st to October 1st. That's only a stretch a little bit past Idle Isle to Martin.
The only other question I have is this street here, is it used other than, I mean, people really don't drive through that street, do they? It's not a cut through or anything?
It's mainly residential. Because of the angle on it, it's not a big
Yeah,
cut
because they cut through the other one.
Except for on Waterbug Show, people, once the park is full, they typically will park on that street. It's actually a longer walk than if you were to park in a park, but that park, I'll tell you, my family goes there quite a bit to the Waterbug Show on Wednesdays, and that park does fill up.
Yeah, I believe that.
Personally, I'm not in favor of signs, putting signs everywhere, because that restricts parking for everybody, even the residents on the streets. Especially you're having on both sides of the streets. Everybody has friends over, people over, a party in their house, graduation, a cookout, you name it. That's gonna go for them as well. I'm not in favor of having no parking on both sides of the street. That's just very restrictive.
It is currently for Saturday, Sunday, and holidays, May 1st, October. So you do have it in a sense from a certain period of time.
They're making it
permanent.
permanent.
Just
Every day.
to Bob, most of those residents were here at that public safety meeting, and they already, when they're having family gatherings, they have their guests park at Park Arthur. They already don't park on the street. They just don't want people coming and parking on the street for the water bugs in front of their houses, putting ruts in their yards and making it an unsafe situation with that street.
And I've been through that area a number of times, including today. I voted against it, and I'll continue to vote against it, only because the entire area is just littered with signs. I took a cruise down there. I went down Shoebring, and I thought this was kind of funny. You get down to Pleasant Street. Pleasant Street's where access number 5 is. Access number 5 is probably 350 feet long. There's no parking on either side. So you can access the road, but it almost looks like we just want to keep this for the neighborhood, and that's all. We don't want, any people from the outside. You talked about other areas. Muskego Drive and the majority of Lake Drive are all no parking on both sides. I understand that. It's a main street, it's a walkable street.
Small road.
It's a smaller streets. But on the side streets, I found it interesting that Elm Street, no parking on both sides. East Street, no restrictions. That's the next street over. Island Drive, no restrictions. Pearl Drive, no parking on both sides. And then we get to Ranch and Earl. It just seems that anybody who wanted a no parking sign got a no parking sign. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, there's no consistency there
None.
in regards to the no
None
parking.
whatsoever.
So are you against no parking on both sides?
No,
Or no parking on one
think
side?
there's
Absolutely, you have to have no parking at least on one side of those streets because of the narrowness.
Right.
If you get like,
So you're against no parking on two sides?
correct.
Okay, that's kind of where I'm at.
And there's plenty
I
of,
kinda agree with
of right-of-way there. It's not that you're driving on somebody's lawn, there's right-of-way all the way up the west side of those areas. Although people do mow up to the road edge, but it's all right-of-way. It's public road.
Yeah, all those streets are narrow, it's just, I think you have to at least have no parking on one side of the street. Because if
Absolutely.
you have no parking on both sides, there's not enough room for anybody to pass each other, and almost everywhere along the lake, they're such narrow streets.
Right.
On both sides, I think that's overkill.
I always defer back to the aldermen and try to take their expertise of what they know with the residents and kind of dissect that. But, looking at this, and just my thought is, and I don't know how you guys think, but I don't have a problem putting no parking on one side. What side, I don't know. And leaving the signs up for the weekends like it is now up because people are used to that already. And it's already littered up with them there anyway. So I have no problem with no parking on one side.
Is that a motion? Is anyone making a motion to amend?
Well, I would just want to hear what everybody else says, if they have something
All right.
else first, and then we'll go.
Alderman Decker.
The residents of that neighborhood absolutely do not want to introduce boating traffic on the weekends by
That's what I'm
totally
saying with you.
lifting the parking on one side of the street. They will not stand for it.
What do you mean by
But
boating
you'll keep the
traffic?
sign, you'll keep the signs up on the other side that says May through whatever.
At the very least, we want to keep that. But one of
No
the
parking on the
proposals
other
was to
side.
put no parking on one side and lift the parking
No.
completely on the other side.
You can-
We do not want that.
You can,
We're not doing it.
yeah, you can put a, no trailer parking on both sides. That would be no issue. I mean,
They don't want any.
Do trucks with trailers park on those streets?
no,
Yeah,
well, because it's not.
Well, they don't 'cause there's
it's-
signs
It's
up now.
weekends and holidays, so.
right. But are there trucks and trailers parked on those streets other than weekends and holidays?
Waterbug shows, he said.
Well, Waterbug show, you don't see
Are they with
trailers.
trailers, though?
The crowds for the Waterbug shows are people from it's some majority are
Like a
almost
tourist.
all Muskego residents that live in different areas of the city that are coming to watch the Waterbugs. So they're not bringing their boat to go watch the Waterbugs. They're just coming to watch. So it's usually single car, single truck parking.
And I agree with Kevin. I mean, as far as, we've done this DPW stuff forever, and every time there's a park or there's a business, everybody wants to shut it down, and we want to use these facilities. If you go to any park and there's no parking on both sides of the street around all the park, and it's like, well, why does anybody use the park? I mean, you live next to a park, people are going to have to come there and use it. But that's what we do. So like I said, I have no problem if that's what he wants to do, put it on one side, leave the signs up on the other side. Just decide what side to put it on, and I'm fine with it. So you guys go from there if you want to bring it up as a motion.
Well, right now, the resolution's written as no parking both sides. So if you guys want to change it, I
You
would
wanna
need a
change
motion
it?
to amend.
Feedback from the community is basically they do not want to change it. They want no parking both sides of the street.
I'm not in favor of that.
There is one person who did speak, who called me this morning and said that she would not like to see a total parking ban on both sides of the street.
Then that's
But
what
she
I'm in favor
she will not put up with weekend boating traffic during the
Perhaps the sign
summer.
would stay on the other side. So you have your May through October, no parking on whatever, Sundays, holidays, Saturdays, whatever it was, and then the other side you have no parking.
So what do you mean by weekend boating traffic? Trailers with trucks or trucks
That-
with trailers?
Yes, including that. Yes, it would. It would draw
What do you mean including that? What else would it include?
anybody.
No,
With
just trailers is fine,
with
but
removing all the parking signs on one side of the street will open up that neighborhood
Well,
to
it's-
anybody who wants to do boating
I don't
activity
think
on the
any of
weekend.
us is mentioning removing the signs that is there.
No, we're just gonna put no parking on one side and have the sign stay the same on the other side.
Yes.
But I don't know what side would be what. So you tell us, because I don't know what people want. You talk to them, just make a motion. If we're wrong, we can change it before the signs go up.
The majority of the residents want no parking on both sides of the street.
I know that happens a lot, though. You'll find this out as you get into this more. Everybody wants no parking in front of their house, but when they go
Right.
somewhere, they want to park in front of someone else's house.
Can I get a motion? If you're going to make a change, can someone make?
Well, we're trying to help you out here. We're giving no parking on one side. You already have signs up.
Alderman Wolf, don't interact with the audience, please. If you guys want to make a change, I need a motion to amend.
You want to make a change?
Who are you asking?
The alderman in the area.
I'll make a motion to amend. No parking on the south side of Earl, the east side of Ranch, but leave the signs up as is for now on the other sides of that street.
Can I get a second for that?
I'm trying to figure out
Well, we can change what side it
South
is.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
east.
All right,
So
south-
are they all
right,
around the
so
corner,
if
or are
you're
you
going,
switching?
if you're going north on Lake Drive, Earl cuts off to the east. Earl runs north and south.
I don't know, I'm looking at the
So
wrong
the
one.
south side would be the south side, the right-hand side as you make that turn. As you come around to the other street, to Ranch Street, and again, would be on the right-hand side, would be the east side of that street. So you'd have continuous no parking from south
Way around
to
the corner.
east.
Okay.
Coming from the west, you'd have limited parking, and this is not my favorite choice, but you'd have limited parking down that street as is right now between whatever dates they have.
May 1st and October
May
1st.
1st and October 1st.
Holidays and weekends.
Holidays and weekends.
I'll second that.
Discussion on the motion to amend. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor of the motion to amend, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
So, any further, the motion to amend passes. Any further discussion on the motion as amended?
Yeah, just one quick one. We haven't had any police reports or fire reports, any problems, because I remember.
Well, the problem, I mean, as Alderman Decker correctly pointed out,
Yeah, that's
having parking on both sides of the road is dangerous. I went and looked at it once during a Wednesday night. I have a small SUV or medium-sized SUV. It was tight for me to get through, and with parking on both sides. So something needs to be done in the neighborhood. It's a matter of what level you do it at. So,
Okay.
any
all I
further
got.
discussion? All those in favor of the motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you. Moving on. Resolution 046, 2024, establishing traffic regulation, stop signs, Champion Drive.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. This is to add, I think right now, is there any parking? No, is there any,
Oh, there's
It's
parking.
stop
I mean, is there any stop sign?
No,
Yeah, there's one, it's a three-way stop.
So it's to make it a three-way.
not
the-
where,
the-
not
the
where
T-
we're talking about, there's not.
So currently
There's no stop sign on Champions Drive at all right now, except where you've, at the very end, if you're going out on 00 or if you're going out
Okay.
on 36.
So this resolution will make no parking no parking, sorry. No
Yeah.
stop-
Three-way
will make-
stop.
Make it a three-way stop,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Too much parking talk.
Yeah, I got the question on there is, again, everybody wants stop signs in these streets that cut through, and we can have them everywhere. Is there that much traffic? Is there any police reports on this? Has there been accidents I mean, I didn't do the meeting.
I'll defer to the chairman.
There is an overabundance of speeding through there. Everybody wants to avoid that stoplight, and they don't want to do it leisurely. They fly through there to get to 36 without hitting the stoplight. The worst part is they're doing it when kids are getting on the bus during school, because that's when they're going to work, and they're doing it when kids are getting off the bus coming home, because that's when they're coming home from work. Everybody's in a hurry. The world doesn't have time to slow down for anything. This particular area has been a nightmare for the people that live on Champions Drive for many years. And they just want to try this. I don't know how it could fail, but if it fails, there's nothing that says they couldn't remove them, but they need to try something to calm that traffic.
So is this a long run? I mean, is this
Well,
any
it's the
different
main
than any other subdivision that has a long run through there without
It's a
traffic sign that
cut-through.
people are speeding through?
The cut through from 00 to avoid the stop sign on 00.
Oh, they do that
and
everywhere. I
Lewis
got
Road.
a couple in my area, they cut through like that too.
Yeah.
Do something about it.
I've rode my bike through there when I've gone out for bike rides.
You guys
Yeah.
have said no a lot of times and stuff.
One speaker at a time, please. Alderman Camel.
In the morning and in the afternoon. And to be honest, now granted, I don't go there through it daily, but it's, once or twice a week when I go out.
Are you going, this is the time frame. I've sat there many times and
Has
watched
it been at 8 in the morning? No, it's been at maybe 11, but it's been at 3 or 4.
Well, everybody's already at work.
But it's been
I'm
at 3
looking
or
at,
4, and
One at a
it's
time,
been a
please.
lot of traffic there because going from, I leave my house and go down Durham to North Cape and cut over there, and the traffic's crazy on the corner of Durham and North Cape. But going through Champions in that evening time, I haven't seen many people go through there. It's been pretty quiet.
it's afternoon. It's between, and like I said, I've sat there when kids are getting on the bus. So it's between, let's say 6:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning. And there's kids standing out there waiting for buses and cars are flying. They're flying through there to get to 36. There's cars flying off 36 to get to 00, and then they find out they'll go through off 36 onto Champions, they'll cut up Tony Lama and then go over to Ryan so they can get on 00. They cut through that whole subdivision to avoid 00, because 00 in the morning during work and at night when people are coming home is horrible. You can sit at that stoplight for 3 changes of that light just to get through it. And that's why they're cutting through, trying to avoid that nightmare. It happens to me all the time.
So I don't have a horse in this race, and I really don't care what you guys do on this one. I just want to point out a couple things. The police did indicate that this is not a high hazard area yet. You know, maybe it's one of these things that are just waiting for a problem. I don't know. The other thing I want to point out is it will calm traffic from going through if that's your problem, but it also gets people at times unsafe or
We have a traffic
unrealistic
jam.
safety, because people will roll through. They will all roll through that stop sign. I guarantee it. There will not be no stopping.
But they're slower when they're
They
rolling.
will slow down. That's why I said it does.
Yeah.
It will do some
Right.
traffic calming, but then you also will have the noise of cars stopping and accelerating constantly too. But if the neighborhood's asking for this, they're the ones that are going to get that.
Well, and
Yeah,
that-
I
that
have
would be the-
166 signatures saying they want this.
No, but the police report, they catch speeders in there. You've had signs out there
The
registering.
police report just says this has not been an.
So they put the
problem for
digital
last
signs
5
out there?
years. So.
Have you asked them to put the
Oh,
sign?
yeah, we've had the police out there many times.
You know, I live right off cut through as well, Parkland, from Janesville to Woods. You know, unfortunately, people fly down that hill coming down Manchester. I haven't seen any problem other than the speeders coming down that hill. Nobody's brought me any complaints or anything, but otherwise we would have, you know, 4-way stops at Bridgeport, Spinnaker, Green Street.
Well, keep this in mind. Champions Drive, and you've been on it, is twice as wide as your road.
It is. It's
And
very
people
wide, yeah.
have it gives them a sense of,
Wider roads, people speed more on wider
they
roads.
will, yes, they do.
Yeah,
They
that-
feel
that-
like
that-
they
that
can
is a
go
proven
way
fact. The wider
faster.
the road, the safer they feel, the faster they will drive.
But on the other side, on that particular road, and I drive that road a lot. I'm careful. I drive the speed limit.
Slow down.
Just so
But
know.
you cut through
I
there,
slow
right?
down. There's a park right across the street, and there's not been an issue
A park where?
right on Manchester Hill, right on the hill there. That
Oh,
brand
yeah,
new
you're
park.
not talking about Champions.
No, I'm talking about where
Yeah,
Bob
yeah.
is. So, I mean, they've not had any problems whatsoever over there.
Yeah. It's a different kind of.
All right, any further discussion,
I'm trying
meaningful?
to avoid it.
Any further meaningful discussion on this? If not, we have more. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
All right, thank you.
I almost was gonna do it.
I didn't even hear you say anything.
In front of you, you have the review, you have the committee reports from the Finance Committee meeting from May 28th for your review. First reading of ordinance and second reading if the rules are waived. Ordinance 1494, an ordinance to amend the zoning map and 2020 comprehensive plan of the city of Muskego, RM2 to RS2, Oak Ridge Glen. Any further information anyone needs for the next meeting, for the second reading?
Oh, forget it.
Alderman Decker, you look like you might.
I think I would like to hear more public input about it.
Yeah,
We've heard
well-
for one person, and then she testified secondhand for somebody else.
Then go knock on doors. This is we had the public hearing today. That was their opportunity to come. So they can speak before any council meeting on any agenda item. They can show up on the next one if they're interested. But, you know, we can't make the public come and talk to us. So. Anything else requested? All right. License approval. Approval of a Class B liquor license for 377 Kearns Crossing, West Bend, Wisconsin, 53098 DBA Busch Gardens, located at South 67 West 14891 Janesville Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Approval of a Class B liquor license for 377 Kearns Crossing, West Bend, Wisconsin, 53098 DBA Bushies, located at South 67 West 14831 Janesville Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Approval of an outside dance permit for TJ's Roundabout LLC, DBA TJ's Roundabout, located at South 102 West 19570 Kelsey Drive for August 10th, 2024, from 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. for their 10-year anniversary.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. City officials' reports, we have none. Communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law. Any updates from any of the committee liaisons?
Oops.
Seeing none. Any future agenda item requests? All right, motion to adjourn would be in order.
Moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 6:54.